Hey, how you doing? It's 717 Anointed One. This is video number 3 on my new spiritual channel. 717 Anointed One, Mr. Kid. Mr. Kid, Hoop Kid. Hopping up the cool kid. Hotter than the matzo ball soup kid. Don't be stupid. Alright, well, basically, the video that I'm doing tonight is about midnight. I just rented that movie Brightburn. Crazy mad superhero kid. I beat his ass. Nah, but anyways, the subject that I'm talking about today is the dream realm, the astral realm, spiritual realm, as well as the lower dimensions, as the underworld, aka hell, Hades, as well as accessing portals, gateways, parts of heaven, maybe going to other dimensions, past lives. I've had certain dreams in the past where I'm at least on 2 separate occasions, once when I was young, and another time a few years back where I'm almost 100% sure I literally was living in my past reincarnated life, and I witnessed my death. And it was weird because usually you wake up before you actually die in a dream, but in these 2 occasions I physically died and vividly felt it, and it was very deep. And I remember one time I was basically mountain climbing. It was like the 70s, and I was a mountain climber and I died. And the other one, this was the more recent one, it was actually like 20s, 30s Chicago. I was a gangster and I was riding in a car, and for whatever reason, I didn't know. You only get glimpses, I didn't know the details or background, but there was someone in my back seat. He shot me in the neck. I think he meant to shoot me in the head or something. Shot me in the neck. I had my own revolver. Turned back, shot him in the face, and thought I, in my mind, I thought I was scot-free. And then passenger dude shoots me like in my ribs, and as soon as he did that, shot him in the face. And I know it sounds crazy. I mean, I've never, this isn't the type of lifestyle I live currently, but this is what happened vividly in the dream. And I just remember gushing blood. I remember this is the 20s, 30s. They didn't have paramedics, response teams, and the medical technology that they have today. So I just remember consciously thinking, F it, and I put the gun to my head. That's something that's like, I find that as very forbidden, something I would never even consider taking my own life. I do believe in the afterlife. I believe in the Most High. I believe in God, and that's an automatic banishment to hell. And I'm grateful for the life God gave me. But in this dream, I blew my head off, and like I said, it felt crazy, like insanely real. I just remember once I did that, my head hit this steering wheel, and I guess there was even horns back then, and they were loud or something, because I remember hearing the horn just blaring nonstop because my head was on it. And you would think I just blew my head off. How can I hear the horn? Well, the craziest part of this dream is when I blew my head off, my soul, literally rose above the car, I could see myself, my my body and my head um, against the steering wheel with the horn blaring. And what was crazy is when my soul was lifting above, my soul got you know, very high above, like almost like looking down on it now from like the clouds, the sky, and it was my soul. And I remember being in fear and being terrified because as a soul, I didn't know where to go. And all of a sudden, it's like my soul figured out how to get back. It zoomed back into my, current body. This was about 5 years ago, and I jumped up in my bed, and that dream really stuck with me. But what I'm going to talk about with the astral realm is when you're sleeping, when you're awake, your brain's in an alpha state, alpha waves. When you go to sleep, it's beta waves. So after let's say you sleep 7 hours, after 2 hours, those 4 hours until 6 hours, you're gonna be in REM sleep, deep REM sleep, and that's when you'll have the most lucid, vivid dreams. If you are in death, psychic, medium, type of person, then you definitely know what I'm talking about. If what I'm saying sounds very far-fetched to you, then I just ask you to open up your mind, because we live in a realm with infinite possibilities, But so what I'm going to tell you about what I've experienced. Basically, I've kind of like in the Book of Enoch, he talks about God showing him hell and heaven. No angels or nobody brought me up to heaven or anything like that, but in the astral realm, and this happened a few times. I'm putting together the pieces of the few times where I believe my light body, my soul, went to portions of hell. And I knew this in my dream because when I entered it, I don't remember who I was talking to, but there was like two other people. They were a lot taller than me. I'm only 5'7", I'm not that tall, but they were a lot taller than me. And I looked up to them and I said, dude, like, I yelled it out almost like if you're walking into a club. I was like, dude, we're in hell. And they laughed like, yeah, we are, duh. And I'm just like, I was taken by it. And basically, the first layer or portal of hell that I witnessed in the astral realm in my dream was it was like almost like a mega club, like in Miami, you know what I'm saying? It was just a huge room that looked like it had no end, but it was like dark, very dark, but there was like a glowing red light that was just was everywhere, almost kind of like a black light but red. You've seen those different color light bulbs, the red one, that red glow, but it was just like endless and everywhere. And with that red glow was like a mist, a fog that just permeated and was endless as well. It was everywhere. And what I witnessed when I walked in was people kind of taking part in what they would do at a bar, but a lot more weird. It was like a lot more risque, swinger type stuff. There was a lot of weird characters and creatures that I remember. Like, you think of like the creepiest, weirdest, freakiest, ghoul-looking dude. Like, I'm talking about like some freaky circus-looking, sketchy-looking freaks. Like, worse than that. Just you know, when people get like weird piercings and it kind of like deforms them. Well, I remember there was weird looking people that had piercings in places that you didn't think piercings could go. And just weird stuff. And another thing that I remember about it is everything that's ungodly in this world, and you know, basically, you know, things that are very degrading and perverse in this world, it's glorified times 100 in heaven. Basically, an example, you know, I'll say, you know, I have no problem with anyone. All I have is love. I have nothing against gay people. I'm all about to each his own. I think that people who choose that, you know, that lifestyle, I believe that they can still get into heaven. You know, some people can't change the way they are. You know, they're born a certain way. I'm not gonna judge anybody, but I'm just gonna say that in hell there was homosexuality was everywhere. It was rampant. It was all that was there. There was men and women in hell aren't allowed to get together. It's all homosexuality. So if that's something that doesn't float your boat, maybe you don't want to go there. And I'm not saying that, like I said, I'm not saying because you are, you know, you're gay in this world that you're going to hell. I'm just saying that what I witnessed is things that are, you know, basically, what I'm going to say is just perverse to what nature is glorified times 100. And like I said, I witnessed it. Like I said, it was crazy. And trying to think, what else did I witness? All right, so that's pretty much all I remembered in that dream, and experiencing a layer or a glimpse of what hell is like. And on another occasion, I had a dream where I felt like I was taken to a different area or layer of hell, and it was you know, different than being like in that room of the glowing red. It was like now it felt like you were outside, but outside was just gloominess, just darkness, and that mist. But this time it was just black darkness, almost kind of like an endless cemetery, and everybody walked around like zombies, like dragged around, very, very depressed and very, you know, just very withdrawn, kind of like zombies, The Walking Dead. And in the dream, basically, you would see all the people that you know. Believe me, hell is gonna be full. You would see people you know, but you weren't allowed to talk to each other. So you would just stare off with this crazy look at each other and just keep on dragging through the endless abyss of hell. And it's really sad. Not a place I want to go to. And so let's see. All right, so yeah, that's pretty much the dream, you know, the dreamlike state that I had, where I felt like I had a glimpse of what hell is like. Um, it's pretty bad. And but on the brighter side, I also had a dream where I felt like I glimpsed heaven, and that was on two separate occasions as well. And the first occasion, me and my dad, we were it was like this beautiful world where me and my dad were literally, this is how it started as far as I remember. We were just jetting. We were underwater, like crystal clear, pristine water. We were like 15, 20 feet underwater, just just zooming through it like dolphins, but faster. I'm talking about like 60 miles per hour, you know. And I just remember we were just like kind of racing, and we were able to breathe and communicate underwater telepathically, and there was no limit to how long we could be underwater without breathing. And then I remember just like jumping once we got to land. I just flew up out of the water like 10 feet on, and just walked on and landed on the ground. And I was instantly dry. And I remember there just being this beautiful like village of these mega cottages, like not your average village or cottages. It was something crazy, something like you would see in Lord of the Rings, but a lot bigger than those Hobbit little houses. And so basically, it was this beautiful village, lush landscape, just vivid colors. And I remember there being like a stone walkway through this like water, like a pond. And every time you stepped on the stone, it lit up, kind of like the Michael Jackson, Billie Jean music video when he's walking on the ground and it lights up wherever he steps. It was like that with these stones, and it was pretty cool. Every time you hit the stone, it lit up till you walked across, and there was no visible sun or moon in this heaven-like realm. Everything was just luminous. Wherever you walked, it would just instantly brighten up in that area. Like the plant life would just brighten up. It was crazy. And so that was pretty much the first experience that I saw. And the second one was very similar. I was just in this world where everything, the flowers, the landscape, the trees, everything was just so much more. Earth is so beautiful, I swear, in its natural state. But the colors were brighter. It's hard to explain, but when you see it, you know it's something divine. When there's nicer, more beauty in the landscape than what we see in Earth, it's hard to match, but it's far better. And that's pretty much the experience with that. When you wake up from your dreams, you pretty much, even if it's like a really crazy dream, that really sticks with you, by the time you get up, brush your teeth, have some coffee, wake up, take a shower, you forget it. So I advise people, get a dream journal. And when you have a significant dream, they're all significant, but when you have one that really sticks with you, write it down right away. And that'll actually help your memory. And down the road, you can see how these dreams may have affected your life. And, I've had a lot of wild, crazy dreams, some scary, some very, not, very good. And they have definitely led me certain ways in my life. And I believe for the better. So, like I said, it's important to pay attention to your dreams. They say if you drink coffee or you eat before you go to sleep, that helps you lucid dream. Lucid dreaming and astral projection are two different things. Lucid dreaming is just when it feels real. Your dream feels like real life. And then astral projection is, like I said, when you literally go to these other worlds, these other places, the spiritual world, the veil is lifted open. You're able to access that when your subconscious mind is working and your body is at rest. And basically you're able to leave this physical third dimension. And so basically, what's it saying? So your subconscious working, you're able to access these other realms, kind of like in that movie Insidious, where those two people was based on these paranormal researchers in real life. I can't remember their names, but they're able to astral project to a lower dimension, kind of like what I talk about. Astral project to hell, astral projected to heaven. And I've witnessed and probably been to other different dimensions and realms and communicated with higher dimensional angelic entities. I truly believe that. I truly believe I have. I've witnessed these things, and I'm pretty smart. I could figure out what's going on. And so I'm trying to see, it's just video number 3, so I'm still a little rusty, but I'm getting a little better, I believe. They said third time's a charm now. Alright, so basically on 2 other occasions I witnessed, or I've saw one time, what they call the shadow man. There's also people also refer to another guy as the hat man. What I witnessed was just a shadow man, like a 8-foot, 9-foot shadowy figure with kind of like the Grim Reaper looking. And people usually talk about witnessing this phenomenon when during sleep paralysis. And then basically psychologists write it off as, oh, it's a type of disorder, they're hallucinating, it's not real. But when I witnessed the shadow man, I've never had sleep paralysis. I smoke a lot of weed. I have no shame in that. I plan on quitting, but right now I smoke a hell of weed. And to be honest with you, it stops you from lucid dreaming, vivid dreaming. I've been locked up a few times too, almost 2 years of my life. And when I'm locked up and I'm not on drugs, I have the most crazy, insane dreams, and sometimes it's a little too much, to be honest with you. In this reality, I smoke hella weed, sometimes I pop Zans. I don't really drink, but just those chemicals in my body will hinder me from being able to astral project or having a vivid lucid dreaming. And I still have it from time to time, but I'm okay with that, because I'm telling you right now, if I was sober 24/7, it would be insane. And I got 2 crazy stories. Okay. Oh yeah, I'm already telling you about the shadow man. Okay, so basically I had just came back from Tallahassee. I was going to Florida State. I was staying with at my grandma's for like a month, sleeping in the guest room. You know, it wasn't a place where I was familiar with. You know, it wasn't my stuff. You know, different energies, whatever. Other people slept there before in her guest room. So anyhow, I already have insomnia. I'm a combination of bipolar, OCD. You know, I'm a Gemini, so I guess the whole bipolar thing, I have no, you know, it's not my choice. It's just astrologically, and that stuff does exist. You know, that's why the full moon people are crazy, lunatics, lunar. Um, the stars, astrology affects people. Why do you think they talked about the star um, when Jesus was born? And so anyhow, I'll do a video probably on bipolar and OCD disorder. It's a weird combo, and it causes me to be an insomniac. I stay up, you know, I get euphoria and stay up for 2-3 days sometimes, and it's hard. It's not easy, but I take care of myself. I rest and I eat very well, and I meditate, and that's how I'm able to channel most of this information from the Most High, to be honest with you. And so with the, I'm getting off the topic. So with the Shadow Man, I literally had an out of body experience, and I've had an out of body experience a few times in my life. Like one time I told you with that dream where I killed myself in the car and my soul lifted up. That felt like a very out of body experience. And what happened was I was sleeping, and somehow out of my body, like I lifted up out of my body, could see I was still sleeping, and was looking at the Shadow Man standing above my body, just like standing there, you know, like literally like 4 feet away from me, maybe closer. And I went back into my body and I'm sleeping, and then all of a sudden I lifted up, like I came back out of my body, my soul, whatever, my spirit lifted up out of my body and start punching at the Shadow Man, and I was like, fuck you, man, fuck you, punching at it. And you know, human beings, we're very strong, we're very powerful, a lot more than most of us have any idea of. You know, they try to hide this stuff from us. And as soon as I came at the Shadow Man like that, he had no power over me. Shadow Man fled, and then my soul went back into my body, and I jumped up in my body, just like what usually happens when you have out of body experience. I jumped up, and I couldn't believe that I just experienced what people have, you know, talked about as the Shadow Man for the first time. It freaked me the hell out. I couldn't sleep. I remember my grandma came in. She was like, "Are you awake? Are you still awake?" I was like, "Nah, Grandma, I had a nightmare." You know, I didn't try to explain to her about the Shadow Man. She would think I was insane. And she was like, "You're lying. You were awake this whole time." I was like, "Nah, Grandma, I literally just had a nightmare. Get the hell away from me." But anyhow, the other story that I'm going to tell you about is about a very lucid dream that I had. It was semi-astral projection, semi just lucid dreaming, because I was controlling myself. I was consciously aware and moving around. So I'm pretty sure it was astral projection. All I know is you know, I work out a lot. I do push-ups, calisthenics, crunches, you know, tai chi, kempo, whatever. And I just remember being in a very bright room. There was you know, I had a few pieces of clothing because I was like sweating, working out in the room, on the ground. You know, I like threw off my shirt, and there was like a lamp, and all of a sudden the evil is a weird thing. because I believe that it is a real entity. I believe the devil, Lucifer, and Satan, Santa, Saturn, Baphomet, Set. Basically, the devil, Lucifer, and Satan, I believe, is three different entities, and evil is definitely an entity. It's real. It's a multitude of different things, but there is definitely spiritual wickedness, and it's all around us. And people need to open up their fucking eyes and see that most of these schizophrenic, DID, mental issues throughout all the years in these asylums where they was doing freaking lobotomies and shock treatments and injecting these people with insane medication. These people are under demonic attack. They need God. Only the Most High can protect you from these electric these electronic weapons and 5G and chemtrails and fluoride in your water and who the hell knows what's in your food. Only the Most High can protect you from this stuff. We're more than our physical biological body, but while we're here, take care of that body. It's your temple. I was born Jewish. I have tattoos. That's my Hebrew name right there. Got a couple more tattoos, whatever. But I'm a modern contemporary, and I don't really necessarily call myself a Jewish person. I'm just, I just love is my religion, and my country is the world. As corny as that sounds, it's like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, I'm chosen, I'm Jewish, I'm better than you, you're a Gentile, blase blase. No, I believe that we are all chosen, and only some people come to the calling, because it's much harder to do right than do wrong. Doing wrong is easy. It's nothing. It's cake. In this matrix, in this world, and this is Satan's world. This is his domain. God is in heaven, in the higher realms. God is